Every tragedy begins with a hero, and the fact that John Swan's rise and downfall is so fascinating is a testament to how good of a hero he was. Starting out ridiculed by others, John rose to the top of the commentary genre within only a few months. It was the right amount of talent, quality and presentation that captivated everyone. But then, where did it all go so wrong?
I had a good take.
It looks big. It looks massive.
Jacob, I will show you what real blackballing looks like, because I will make sure no one ever works with you in any serious capacity. I had a good take.
That's a yes.
You need to go off, you need to log off, you need to leave online settings, and this stuff is going to haunt you now, forever online. If you know, then you know. That's what I'm going to say.
John Swan was born on May 6, 2001 in South Africa, and at a young age, he and his family moved over to Australia. We don't know all the details of his early life, but we do know that John was kind of a sheltered kid. His parents quickly enrolled him in violin lessons, and it completely captured his interest. Unlike everyone else, John didn't really watch TV or see movies or play video games, and that's what made a world like the internet so appealing to him when he discovered it in around 2012. By age 13, John had made his first YouTube channel under the name of Lapis Gaming Official, and over the next 6 years, he would go from posting Minecraft videos to an interest in graphic design and Photoshop. You can see this from his earliest available videos from 2018, which are iPhone and Samsung ad parodies. John would also make videos reviewing songs by young cringy rappers from the perspective of a natural musician, and over time this developed from general cringe culture to the commentary community. When it began, this new and fledgling genre was mostly dedicated to making fun of kids online, but by 2018 it was now a place where commentary channels critiqued and called out other YouTubers for their heinous actions, and that kind of place really appealed to John, who also had a keen interest in topics like speech and debate, a subject he claimed he has won state competitions in. There was a certain shift in John's kind of content, especially after one of his videos speculating on Logan Paul's sociopathy got around 100,000 views. In 2019, the YouTuber Just Destiny issued a copyright strike on LT Cobra, a smaller channel who had made a video making fun of him for his weird titles and thumbnails, sexualizing kids from Dr. Phil and TLC. The 15-year-old LT Cobra would make a response, leading to Just Destiny sending him a cease and desist. The drama erupted into a huge situation, the commentary community picked up their pitchforks, and John's subsequent video was one that stood out. Propelled by a shoutout from resident drama gnome Keemstar, it ended up gaining around 100,000 views. It's worth knowing that whilst this video may look like the usual standard now, this was back in 2019. All the big, high-produced documentaries on drama content, all the Sunny V2s and Internet Anarchist didn't really exist bar a few outliers. If you were a commentary YouTuber in 2019, your videos either looked like this or this. They weren't meant to look like this.
If you're not aware of this situation, Just Destiny has made quite a name for himself in all the wrong places and for all the wrong reasons. Despite his 1.7 million subscribers, Destiny still thinks it's a good idea to use sexually explicit photos of children in his thumbnails for clickbait. Several people called him out for this indecency, to which he responded by acting like the 12-year-olds he criticizes in his videos.
In the face of a new generation of low-effort and run-of-the-mill commentary channels came a counter-reaction, a palette of channels with fewer videos, but with higher production value and effort. People you might have heard of, like Nerd City, Jay Aubrey, The Right Opinion, Black Wolf Company, and indeed John Swan. At the time, Keemstar was also influencing some of these newcomers to do his dirty work, and having been recently promoted, John and many others were wary of this. In response to Keem, a lot of these new YouTubers decided to make a group chat called the New Commentary Order, or NCO, a place made for the purpose of letting creators grow without Keem's influence. And John was there as well. But it wouldn't last long. The group basically collapsed after Keemstar of all people was invited to this group to deal with the Just Destiny situation. Unexpectedly, he worked with Zoom, a doxer and pedophile. Keem, along with certain members of the NCO supporting him, attempted and eventually succeeded in doxing Just Destiny. And after that was exposed, it was curtains for this ambitious but ultimately weak project. I mean, they had it coming. They had welcomed in the wrong reason they made that group chat in the first place. But John's next step up the YouTube social ladder had just broken. However, a much more permanent connection that John had made would be with a number of small but up-and-coming commentary channels. One of them was Nicholas Diorio, a co-host of the popular drama podcast Sharp from the Point, with its permanent host and creator, Tommy C. You may recognise Tommy from Keemstar's podcast Baited. Nick was a total newcomer to making videos and had only recently got the job as co-host, but one of his first videos was an expose on Keemstar and the NCO for their doxing deals, which completely blew up. John also became friends with AugieRFC, a commentator who was coming up through live streams, making a space for creators to all hang out. When the NCO's members were questioned about their involvement, John came onto the show to face them. He would also strike up a long-lasting friendship with the aforementioned LT Cobra, alongside connecting with Augie and Nick's friends like Bo Blacks and Tipster. Yeah. By the end of 2019, John was in a pretty good position with a lot of friends. He had even bagged himself some work as an editor for The Right Opinion, and had made a couple of appearances on his videos discussing proof for fake DMs and his knowledge on copyright issues. He had also started working for different projects, such as the Pescator channel, which was meant to be a competitor to Keemstar's Drama Alert. But was Johnson respected as a creator, or merely just admired for being a good editor? He was definitely talented, but some of his arguments, like his posturing over the process of creating reaction commentary, definitely didn't resonate with others. And whilst everyone was covering drama situations in one of the most crazy years for drama, John set out to make a humble documentary about the game Minecraft, the game that he'd started his YouTube career playing. John was relentlessly mocked by others for such a decision, and when it didn't perform well upon release, he went back to covering drama. Ironically, since then, the video's gone on to gather 1 million views. So what was John missing out on? What was going on in early 2020?
You tried to do the FBI, didn't work! You tried to do the police, didn't work! So instead, he resorts to the paycheck!
Of course, Onision, famously hated YouTuber from back in 2015, who was under constant fire from resurfacing allegations of grooming and pedophilia. Onision's extensive history of derangement was the subject of interest for literally everyone. Reddit wine moms, Tumblr users, many YouTubers, Chris Hansen of Dateline NBC fame, and The Right Opinion, who was working on a massive series regarding Onision. But he had to face facts. Onision was a deranged sociopath loser who probably did groom those kids, but the coverage from Chris Hansen and multiple other YouTubers that were milking the situation, they were all outright saying that he was going to jail. That was far from the brutal truth. Grooming is technically not a crime in the US, and any of the crimes that his victims were alleging had a lack of evidence and based itself more on testimony. In fact, the best way that Onision would have realistically gone to jail is from him destroying the wetlands outside his house. Apparently the rumour is that when making his Onision video, The Right Opinion knew that saying Onision isn't going to jail was controversial, even if it was right. So rather than stating it himself and getting a potential hit to his reputation, he decided to hand it down to John, and John took the opportunity with open arms. He made a segment which is now on a video that has over 4.5 million views, and John's willingness to stand on an opinion like this in the fire of vicious opposition definitely earned him a lot of respect, especially with those who'd become disillusioned with the insane campaign fueled by Onision's ex Shiloh and the anti-O's, as they call themselves. Going after Onision was one thing, but going after others and saying they're associated with him because they're criticizing how the whole situation's being handled is something else. So where was John's next project? Was it further into the Onision case? No. Instead, he decided to reach out and restart a dead drama that he had missed out on from last year. With around 300,000 subscribers, Suzy Lou appeared to be just another blade of grass in the vast field of reaction YouTubers who stare at other videos with their mouths open. But what separated Suzy from the rest was that she was no stranger to controversy. In 2019, a small YouTuber called Mark After Dark uploaded a video on a game called The Last Guardian VR. In this video, he decided to include a 23-second clip from Suzy's own playthrough where she cried at the game's ending. This innocuous and slightly mean-spirited meme was too far for Suzy, and she marched on it by issuing a copyright strike. What's interesting about this is that the person who issued a copyright strike, aka Suzy, had built her entire career from barely reacting to anime, and she most certainly did not have the legal right to upload her reactions. Listen, I will back piracy any day of the week, but falsely striking YouTubers because they made a joke about you? That's crazy. Suzy Lou would later issue copyright strikes on Tipster on a video where he simply interviewed a fair use lawyer about her case, and she would also later go onto AugieRFC's show to be confronted by other YouTubers. Once there, she was told to show her report history, which was filled to the brim with videos about her.
Oh,
Yeah,
no. Well, you gotta see video. We can't see
We
that.
need a screen share.
We need the screen share.
Oh,
You need to-
whoa, hold on.
Lots of GG Reloaded though.
Yeah, lots of GG Reload.
Oh no.
Yeah, we can't have.
And you can
Oh
look.
my
She can
God.
scroll down too. Like, where's the scroll?
Oh my.
Wait, wait,
Look
wait.
on the right hand
This is
side.
not-
You can scroll down.
This is not a good look, Susie.
Wait a
Yeah,
minute! It's all the
that's
stuff
it.
talking about the story! Wait a minute!
Yeah,
Wait
wait.
a minute! Susie, no!
Now, all this occurred in the middle of 2019, so why was it now being brought up? Well, Susie's ability to get away with the false copyright strikes, especially on Tipster's video when he didn't even use her content, it was all very suspicious, and those suspicions were all but confirmed when she turned up in the newest edition of YouTube Rewind. Not only that, but her channel was also temporarily terminated before being promptly put back up a few days later. Again, really suspicious because a lot of YouTubers don't get their channels back that quickly unless they make a stink about it on Twitter. All of this was a perfect topic for John to cover, because if you know his content, you also might know of his expertise and skill in copyright law, something that he developed a bit of an obsession with over the years. This was what intrigued him with the Just Destiny case in the first place. This was his bread and butter. And so, in March 2020, John Swan uploaded Susie Lou, the most problematic YouTuber you've never heard of, and it blew up. What separated it from everyone else's videos at the time was that it collected everything into a nice, easily digestible video that was both interesting to those who knew nothing about the situation and those who knew everything. The video also had a few cameos from other YouTubers in the community, and of course, we can't forget the editing skill and the presentation. There was one final thing that propelled it into the algorithm: its takedown. Due to some jokes about the size of Susie's forehead, she decided to flag the video to her partner manager, and it instantly went down. But John's persistence and the community support of the re-upload turned it into a success. Within 2 videos and a few months, John had established himself inside the community as a creator. His channel shot up to around 50,000 subscribers within a month. The fact that John's videos had so much effort put into them, were so well researched and yet so infrequent, made them into an event that you dropped everything to go watch, and his new subscribers awaited his next video. But who would he go after next? To get the context of John's next video, we need to rewind back to 2019, the height of the Onision situation and the many YouTubers spearheading the hate train against him. One of them was Chris Hansen. Wait, the Chris Hansen? Yes, that Chris Hansen, the one known across America and possibly the world as the guy with the show where he baited child predators to houses and caught them with their pants down, both figuratively and sometimes literally. So wait, what on earth is he doing on YouTube? Well, to answer that, you gotta first ask what happened to his show, To Catch a Predator. Chris Hansen lost his spot on Dateline NBC after one of his pedos shot himself when the police came, followed by a $105 million lawsuit dropped on NBC, and then a scandalous affair with a young news reporter. Over the years, Hansen looked to the internet for a new lease in his career's life, and used Kickstarter to restart the show under a different name. And hey, he got a new job on TV, and the show started getting predator catches. But Hansen's many supporters were promised things for the support. Stuff like t-shirts, mugs, hats, the usual. Eventually in September 2017, Chris bought $13,000 worth of merchandise and paid for them with a check, but Hansen's checks bounced. And in early 2019, Hansen was in serious trouble. Not only was he arrested because of his bounced check that paid for the merchandise, but the arrest revealed that he was in over $1.4 million worth of debt. Thankfully for Chris, the Onision wave had rolled into an entire tsunami, and it captured his interest. Chris started looking into the case, and was soon doing regular streams with massive turnouts where he interviewed integral people to the Onision case like victims, prominent YouTubers, and former affiliates. Having the guy known for catching pedos on Onision's case, knocking on his door asking him to have a seat, hearing his panicked call to 911, all this was crazy, and insanely good PR for the crowd against Onision. But Hansen was not perfect even in this area. Over the months, Chris's interviews had slowly gone from key figures to everyone and anyone who was somewhat affiliated to Onision, and it wasn't as if he was handling the situation well either. Sarah, a victim of Onision's partner Kai, claimed there were explicit pictures that Kai had sent to her when she was underage. Hansen got in touch with his contacts at the FBI and told Sarah to send it to Vincent Nicotra, a web designer and internet guy as Chris describes him, who was working for Chris for free. And contrary to Sarah's belief that it had been sent to the FBI, the laptop was actually just sitting in Vincent's office for months. Vincent himself was going crazy on Twitter, posting people's doxes and sending this to Chris. Chris, this has gone far enough for the trolls. Sorry to ruin your New Year's Eve, but I'm taking matter into my own hands with a f***ing N-word troll. That's right, I said N-word because this troll is a f***ing N-word. This is not up for discussion and debate. My family is attacked. Maybe if I got f***ing paid, I would be more calm and talk to a shrink about this bullshit. Whoa. So it's nice to hear that this laptop was in the right hands. As a result of this meltdown, Vincent was fired, and Chris got in Mike Morse, an attorney from Detroit, who was dealing with a number of sexual assault cases against him. And as time went on, Chris appeared to become way more desperate for money and would try and get it any way he could, promoting scams like a dodgy cleaning product that claimed to kill the coronavirus during the height of the pandemic, advertising for the campaigns of anti-Semitic politicians, or promoting a phone sold by the family of Pablo Escobar, which was just a Samsung reskin with a bumped up price. He would also be putting up a cameo and reading pretty much everything.
I hear you've gotten into the Epstein pilot program.
And plugging an anti-scam book made by a known con artist. Furthermore, when Chris finally had the opportunity to interview Onision himself, something he'd been building up for this entire time, he fumbled. He placed too many checks and monetization barriers, and Onision slipped away elsewhere. All this had been building over the last few months, and was finally compiled when John Swan uploaded these 2 videos looking at Hansen's history and his various scams. John's Hansen videos felt like he had leveled up his editing and storytelling to a higher degree, with one of them having 3 million views as of today. And at the end of his second video, John teases a mysterious part 3, but part 3, whatever it was, would sadly never come to fruition. Alongside Vincent Nicotra and Mike Morse, Chris added another affiliate to his team, a stalker and doxer named Anonymous Gene. Gene would start posting the doxers of Onision and his family, and would engage in harassment campaigns against those critical of Hansen's work. And Hansen would be there with Gene privately, they were friends, they were talking in the DMs. When John posted his first video, Gene posed as Onision and tried to take the video down with a false copyright strike. This was stopped by none other than Onision himself, who stepped in and said that he was being impersonated. And from there, it really escalated. Gene went from harassment campaigns and false claims about John botting to probably being responsible for a temporary mass Twitter banning of Chris Hansen's most vocal critics, of course with Chris still affiliated and talking to him more than he talked to his own kids. Hansen was ducking questions on stream about him from John's supporters, and this all led to Gene doxing John Swan and contacting his high school friends saying he was a pedophile. Arguably the worst of Gene's actions was him going after John's younger sister, posting pictures of her from school. This was one of John's toughest periods, and his video discussing and exposing all of it in January 2021 led to immense backlash against Chris Hansen. Sadly, despite all this, Hansen has been coasting off his legacy and still has a sizable audience. But the damage to Chris was done, and this was John at his best when making videos. And I do want to talk about that briefly, because whilst there are many videos out there on John Swan, none of them stop and appreciate how good he was at the time, even though that's a crucial part of his entire story. I think most people can agree that John's Chris Hansen videos are the peak of his career. The fact that he was going after someone with such a revered reputation who had still done some pretty things was a case that most probably won't be able to navigate, but John did. Not only that, but John's impact on the community was visible. Some of John's editing effects, transitions, and general video style were being copied by every small and new commentator on the block, many of them being fans of his. John Swan became the new standard of quality ethics and journalism in online drama. He brought around this new lick of paint to the commentary community, one that's lasted to this day. Additionally, because John was a musician, he was also skilled in audio issues, and his microphone generally sounded better than everyone, which is worth noting because he would connect and help many other YouTubers with their mic issues. But whilst John's editing was high above anyone else in the scene, his scripting was quite different. Writing has never really been John's strongest suit throughout his career, and you can tell by watching some of his older videos. Yet John's videos on Suzy Liu and Chris Hansen performed excellently, and they were surprisingly strong in their scripts. As it turns out, Nicholas Diorio had also made videos on Suzy Liu and Chris Hansen a few months prior, and similarities between their scripts seemed to come up a lot, especially in John's second video on Chris Hansen. This wasn't a collab like later projects, this was a claim of plagiarism, a claim that John had been copying parts of Nick's videos.
If these people sound like they were born yesterday, that's because they actually were. The Nano Vapor Biotech website was literally registered from GoDaddy.com one day before the stream with Chris Hansen.
If it seems like these people were born yesterday, that's because they probably were. The website domain for this revolutionary product was registered the day before the stream on Chris Hansen's channel.
But Holly went on to say some incredible things. The most insane one was where she insinuated that Onision now has confirmed kills.
Holly goes on to tell Chris that Onision has confirmed kills.
This allegation began to gain some steam when Tommy C referred to it on a livestream. I took 2 lines from Nick's video, this one and the one around the Holly clip. Why? Because they said it better than me. Both of Nick's videos are cited in the description. Text and journalism with a similarity less than 15% is considered acceptable. Good luck finding anything close to that. Okay, John, that is what I said in the podcast. You took 2 lines and that is all I said. That's really lazy in my book. That was my only criticism. I had another version in the script, but I went back and watched Nick's videos again, and I just thought his was better, so I used it. This has nothing to do with laziness. He does not see the big issue, and I do not see the big issue. It's 2 lines. Okay, that is your opinion, but I think taking others' jokes that you admitted to is kinda lazy. If you can live with it, okay, fine. I took the part where you talked about Onision having confirmed kills, if that's what you're referring to, because I found it really funny. I don't know why you're saying jokes in the plural, it was once. Once in the entire 38-minute video. What John skipped over was that it wasn't just 2 lines from Nick's video. There were plenty of other jokes and passages that had been ripped from Nick.
Which is really easy to do when you'll shout out literally anyone, including your detractors, for just $50.
I'd like to give a big shout out to Nicholas Diorio.
He will even go as far as to shout out one of his biggest detractors.
Chris Hansen here of Hansen vs. Predators to catch a predator and have a seat with Chris Hansen. I'd like to give a big shout out to Nicholas Diorio.
Never mind the fact that I paid him to make that just to throw it in Shiloh's face, who is, by the way, one of the alleged victims he's representing.
Nick paid for this clip just to rub it in Shiloh's face. And remember, Shiloh is one of the alleged victims that Chris Hansen is representing.
And what you'll find is some very conclusive stuff. The research by NanoVapor was done on site at private medical clinic. Yes, this product works so well that the clinic that performed the test doesn't even want their fucking name associated with it.
The overwhelming scientific consensus that they were trying to sell you on, that this is a very good product, it's so effective that they can prove it in only 2 pages with large type font in a PDF for a study that was done in private medical clinic.
The study in question is 2 pages long with large type font and was done in private medical clinic. Yes, the clinic who provided the premises for the study didn't even want their name attached to the product.
Hey guys, Chris Hansen here of Hansen vs. Predators, and to catch a predator, I just wanted to tell you all that I've seen this amazing new smartphone called the Escobar Fold 2. Hey guys, Chris Hansen here of Hansen vs. Predators, and to catch a predator, I just wanted to tell you all that I've seen this amazing new smartphone called the Escobar Fold 2.
Well, in case you're unaware, the brand name Escobar actually unironically comes from Pablo Escobar, who, by the way, was famous for being a Colombian drug lord and narco-terrorist, who was also the founder of the Medellin cartel. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated at $30 billion in 1993.
You know, Colombian drug lord and narco-terrorist who was the founder and sole leader of the Medellin cartel, dubbed the king of cocaine, the wealthiest criminal in history, monopolizing the cocaine trade into the US in the 80s and 90s, and was also responsible for the death of over 3,000 people.
However, this entire situation didn't really go anywhere past this. Most people who cared about this agreed there were more pressing issues. On top of that, Nicholas Diorio himself didn't want to push the issue, and later stated that he did feel slighted by this, but didn't want to comment because John was blowing up at the time, and it would dampen his friend's success and make him look like a dick.
And back when this happened, like, I felt awkward about it. I didn't want to say, like, holy dude, my friend is stealing from me. Okay? I don't, because, I mean, that sounds pretty gay, right? I don't want to be the guy on Twitter who's being like, oh my god, because John Swan was a big, successful YouTuber at the time who was pulling in, I don't even think the combined views on my 2 videos were 200,000. This video did 800,000. So until John's whole life and career ended, there was no way for me to argue about this without sounding like a petty bitch who was, like, jealous of his current success.
And that wasn't the only issue with John Swan.
Hey commentary community, I'm outside right now touching some grass. I think you guys could all take a little bit of advice from that. Remember, the internet isn't as serious as you may think it is. You may think a lot of the things hold more weight than they really do. Try and get outside. Touch some grass sometime.
Though John had elevated himself to admiration and fame, he seemingly kept hanging around and with smaller commentary channels. I know there's a saying of never forget where you came from, but John was directly interacting with these people and getting involved in situations he really didn't need to. After his initial blow up, his actual next target was none other than Raintism, a small commentator who'd been doing YouTube for 10 years just for the result of a measly 400 subscribers. Raintism was a bit of a lolcow of his day in 2020. After being made fun of by John and a couple of others after he was defending another commentary e-girl, long story, Raintism went off and tweeted hours later later that John making fun of him had led to a heart attack and he was in the hospital. This is something that he later admitted to faking. John would end up milking Raintism for all that he was worth in a stream and a video on his second channel, mocking him and his leaving Twit longer. Again, whilst it's absolutely fair to make fun of a guy like Raintism, the fact that John had gone to the extent of making this much content about a total nobody is worth noting. Another small commentator who John got involved with was Elucid. One side primitive short video essays with flashy lights, and the other side just being a typical run-of-the-mill commentary YouTuber. Elucid and John Swan didn't really know each other, apart from John helping Elucid in a false copyright hit against his channel in mid-2020. Their connection is because Elucid was accused in late 2020 of pedophilia. The allegations seemed to be strong, but within the same day of them being published, John Swan started up a stream intervening. Within an hour, he and everyone else had concluded that the current evidence against Elucid was fake and unreliable, and everyone's opinion on the situation turned instantly, which is yet another testament to how much impact and influence he had on the community. Interestingly, something that barely anyone had picked up on at the time is that John's logic to disprove the evidence was totally wrong. The entire idea revolves around the fact that the Instagram UI was wrong, which is incorrect, and the iPhone screen recording had massive spikes of lag, which is totally normal for the hardware. Elucid was essentially falsely cleared by John, but the most well-known case of John fucking with small commentators is Pieman. Unlike Raintism, who always hated him, and Elucid, who didn't really keep up with him, Pieman was a die-hard fan of John Swan and his content. He had started his career with a huge 3-hour video going over the career of LT Corbett or Soph, an old commentary channel, and it was an impressive achievement, especially for someone who was only 15 at the time. On Twitter, you could see Pieman regularly interacting with John's tweets alongside his other friends, and when John later made a request asking for parody exposed videos on him for stream content, Pieman answered the call, and his video was the first to be featured by John, and that decision was intentional. Did he have the best editing or writing in the world? Not really. But what matters about Pieman is that he was a young kid and you could tell that he was putting his heart into making videos. However, things weren't to last. It begins, as all online tragedies begin, on Discord. In one of the many small commentary Discord servers out there, Pieman met a Twitter user inside the community called iMalikStan69. Pieman and iMalikStan hit it off and quickly began flirting with each other on Discord and Twitter. Keep in mind, Pieman was 15 at the time and iMalikStan was 13. Or at least that's what Pieman thought, until someone later informed him that iMalikStan was actually 12. In response, Pieman said that it now felt really weird, but at the same time, knowing that her age was lower than he thought actually turned him on more. Expectedly, the screenshot was then leaked to the public. Initially, this was met with a lot of ridicule, as you would imagine, but the situation was derailed when John Swan and his friends came in and began berating Pieman as if he were a pedophile. They did outright say he wasn't, but their treatment of him and the other tweets implied something very different. Now, did Pieman deserve being called a pedophile? No. To be clear, what Pieman said was incredibly weird, but he was again only 15 at the time. It was hard to pin him down as a vicious predator threatening children when he was also a kid and a social reject who hadn't even talked to a woman in real life, let alone a relationship.
Have you ever spoken to a female? Like, this is a genuine, like, do you know?
I'm gonna be honest. I have not had, I'm gonna be honest. I have not had an actual conversation with a female outside of Twitter.
Let's not
You see, we have reached the root of the problem.
Given he was 15, there was absolutely time for him to change if he took the correct steps and took a break from the internet to live a real life, instead of being engrossed in online degeneracy. But despite all of that, John Swan, Pieman's own idol, was at the head of the charge against him. This all culminated in a livestream on Drama Time, Pieman's drama podcast, where essentially everyone got to call in and bully Pieman for 3 hours, and amongst them was John Swan, with an even harsher rendition of his previous Twitter comments.
I'm not going to be here for very long. I'm not going to be on for very long. I just, like... Dude. Like, what the f***? Like... Yeah. What the f***? I just...
I don't know why I said that. I'm not attracted to 12-year-olds. I don't know why I said that.
Why would you say it then?
I don't know.
Why would you say that? Out of everything you could have said, why did you say that?
That was, it was a big f*** up. It was something which, is
Yes,
really bad. And
colossal.
I'm very stupid. I'm very an idiot.
You mean that's fine?
You still said it,
It's
though.
fine to say that, mate. But you said it in DMs, right? And you even cemented it because
Right,
you know
wait,
it's
hold on.
earlier on when Cobra was in the call. You thought that wasn't going to get leaked. You thought that was going to stay private. Why would you
Yes,
say that in private, not
because-
thinking it was going to get leaked if you didn't mean it?
Situation.
So you knew that it was bad. You knew what you
No,
were saying was bad.
I'm-
If that got out, you knew that it was bad. That's why you didn't want it to
Yes.
get leaked. So you knew what you were saying. You can't wiggle your way out of this one, mate. You can't wiggle your way out of this one.
Let me talk.
How is that not going to get leaked? Like, dude, can you not think like ahead?
Well,
like, dude,
because
how does that not get leaked?
She said that she wouldn't leak it, and of course
She's 12. Dude,
I went into damage control mode, and I really panicked
And
and
you
stuff.
lied.
And yes, I lied. That was really bad, and I don't have an excuse for that.
But if you legitimately feel this way, you need some help, right? You need to go. You need to log off. You need to like leave online settings because you cannot have a public platform when you've admitted to this stuff. And this stuff is going to haunt you now forever online. Like you've said that's come out. People are always going to know. You've tweeted some very horny tweets before, which is really strange. And I unfollowed you. That was partly the reason why I unfollowed you a few weeks ago. Looks like I dodged a fucking bullet there. And it shows that you don't have self-restraint and you can't think before you speak. You don't have self-awareness. And those are important traits to have if you have an online platform. I don't know if you can save yourself here, then. Like, this is something that's gonna be with you for ages, and you need to get it sorted out. I don't even know if you can come back. I don't know if you should.
Unsurprisingly, this wouldn't end well, as after the livestream, Pieman posted his suicide note to Twitter. Thankfully, he would survive as his parents intervened and got him to therapy, and the situation entered a mellow lull. People felt as if they had taken stuff too far in the heat of the moment, but John retold the story in a very different light. You'd think by now that the YouTuber with 100,000 subscribers would just leave this frankly irrelevant alone once it got too serious, but he didn't. To his stream viewers, John said that Pieman was weaponizing his life to get out of the situation.
But at the end of the document, he said, I might just upload my next video and then myself. And I'm just... It came out later. Okay, well, he didn't... Those weren't genuine. That wasn't a genuine thing. He, literally, turned around and said he's fine. So he tried to weaponize his suicide attempt to try and make us feel bad about him saying he was being attracted to a 12-year-old.
John also says that he was trying to stop Pieman from doing a stream.
And I told them, the first thing I got on there, I actually went on because I was like, guys, turn off the stream. You shouldn't be streaming about this. Like, what are you doing?
Which is technically true.
In fact, you need to end the stream. You shouldn't even be live streaming right now because nothing that you're saying is even helping you and it's actually making it worse. So you need to end the stream.
But what's important is that John was trying to frame it as if it was his primary intention when it clearly wasn't. John just wanted to excitedly make fun of Pieman and berate him some more.
Well, I wanted it to not get leaked because I could tell, out of context,
yes, of course.
it looks
I
really
would want
bad.
that to get leaked either, Pieman, because that's really incriminating. There's no context that makes that okay. There's no context that makes that okay. I'm sorry, there is no context. I'm like, dude, you just can't.
Much later, when Pieman uploaded a video asking John to apologize to him, John would hop onto Elucid's livestream and laugh at the video with a bunch of others.
I think I've provided enough information to prove that John is not perfect. He has made mistakes. Mistakes deserving of an apology. This is why I want everyone who watched this video to tweet #apologize_JohnSwan.
What the situations with Raintism, Elucid, and especially Pieman say about John Swan is more of a reflection of his ego. Again, let me make it clear that in all cases, he never had to get involved, and he genuinely could have just ignored them. It wasn't like a major story or a major point against him was even being made. Even with someone like Raintism, who would directly accuse John Swan of bullying him into a heart attack, he had already rescinded his claim by the time John had made his stream. At least with Elucid, he thought he was clearing a false allegation, and with Pieman, it just doesn't make sense, especially when you consider that Raintism and Elucid were both adults, whilst again, Pieman was 15. Why would John do this? Is it some sort of a thrill or a sense of power from messing with these people, bullying them around and facing no repercussions because they're nobodies?
This kid's continually been ratioed by bigger YouTubers, I like John, but I'll say his name. John has been going at this kid for a while. The poor kid DM'd him something, or it might have been somebody else. He's like, "Can you lay off?"
Here's the deal. Here's my stance on that. All right, here's my stance
some bad.
Small with no influence. Let's attack him. Low-hanging fruit.
When it's actual allegations and when the kid is already like off the edge anyway, like, and you're trying to throw real shit, I'm just like, all right, this is just gonna f you over in the future or whatever. I have no issue if people are ratioing the kid or whatever, or just making fun of him or whatever. I can't take a stance against that because that'd be inherently hypocritical from my perspective. But you gotta calling the kid a pedo is a lot different than, you know, just making fun of him or just goofing on him or whatever. You know, there's a little bit of a difference between that.
It's hard to convey how popular Dream was back in 2020, because when you hear his name nowadays, you usually think of something like this. I'm in love with the minors. But back before all the allegations, Dream was on top of the online world. His Minecraft videos and the Dream SMP had captured the imagination of a generation of bored teenagers in the middle of a lockdown. But it didn't immediately start like this. Before Dream blew up and became as big as he was making videos that were more about the technicality of Minecraft. In fact, he was even interviewed by John Swan in his Minecraft video essay that we mentioned. In a way, Dream's path from then onwards was very much like John's. He had entered a community as a talented and underrated creator, and through a number of well-made videos had skyrocketed to the top of the Minecraft community, changing how a lot of other creators operated. And just like John, there were things to criticize him on. In gaining his popularity, Dream had attracted a loyal and fervent fandom of young people obsessed with him and his work, fitting nicely under the label of stans. He would be trending every single day on Twitter due to thousands of people tweeting about something he had said or joked about on his stream. And although this is not a blanket representation of everyone, some of these fans were crazy people who doxed, harassed, and drew graphic gore art of people they hated or even loved. It even came to the point that Dream had to Photoshop out the reflection in his cat's eyes when posting a picture so that his fans couldn't find out who he was. And despite those facts, Dream would continue to actively encourage their toxic behaviour. Perhaps it's no surprise then that when his rabid fanbase turned on him, not much sympathy was to be had. At the time, John Swan had just finished his collaboration with Nicholas Diorio looking into the YouTuber Deji, and was moving towards the future. He was now planning to work with a smaller and very talented commentary creator known as Cordwit on his video encompassing Dream's controversies, and in order to promote it, John would post tweets highlighting the issues with Dream and his fanbase. This got him the usual backlash, but it did also get him on Dream's radar, and after a post in which John was gloating about his recent Twitter growth, Dream responded on his small subreddit. This guy is bad news. A while back, right after I interviewed with him for a Minecraft documentary, he changed his profile picture and name on Discord to mine, and started DMing people pretending to be me. He sent people the N-word and a lot of other stuff, as well as said sexual stuff, whilst claiming that it was me, and giving his main Twitter to vouch, where he would then from his main Twitter vouch that it was me and say that we were amazing friends and link the documentary to prove it. Once I confronted him about it, very nicely given the circumstances, he said that his friend had hacked his account and done it. I didn't reply to him and unfollowed him, and I don't think he is super fond of me since then. John would promptly respond to this comment by clarifying that a while ago, whilst visiting some family friends, he had logged into his account on someone else's laptop to teach a younger member of his family about YouTube. The annals of history have since referred to this person as the 12-year-old autistic cousin, based on how John describes them. John states that he foolishly forgot to log out, and this kid would start trolling on his account. He messaged the YouTuber HarleyCBS and redirected them to an alternate account disguised as Dream, where he talked about such topics like the Minecraft sex mod that he was working on. It's worth noting that Harley is now known as a channel with well over 100,000 subscribers and a prominent voice in the art commentary community, but back in 2021 when this happened, they had barely 1,000 subscribers and was generally quite annoying, something I'm sure they will tell you themselves. Harley was less known for the content they made, and more for spamming friend requests on Discord to any and every big content creator that they got into contact with. As soon as John found out about the trolling, he says he logged out on all accounts and spoke to the cousin, telling him to stop and change the account back. Dream didn't buy this, and showed the Twitter messages where he confronted John on what happened. The two went back and forth, and John's audience and friends obviously believed him, considering his credibility. I'm so sorry about all the Dream-related tweets on the timeline, but I just quickly wanted to add this. Why would I, as a creator wanting to get big on the platform, try to smear another popular creator by creating an alt account and sending troll messages to one person? This just makes no sense at all, optically and logically. Anyone that knows me in private knows I don't do shit like this. It just isn't true. This is a smear, plain and simple. On February 16th, 2021, Dream went live on Twitch to over 300,000 viewers dressed in a detective version of his skin. In this stream, Dream shows the DMs of the alt account supposedly made by the 12-year-old autistic cousin. In this, he points out that the kid referred to Harley's dispute with LT Cobra. So how could a 12-year-old log in and know about this person's pre-existing drama with someone else? Dream also notes that the alt account is now named Nicholas Diorio, which as we know is one of John's closest friends. Again, unlikely that a 12-year-old would know this, so who was running this account? Was it actually Nicholas Diorio? At this point, Keemstar also jumped in because of course he did. Keemstar offered both John Swan and Dream an opportunity to come on Drama Alert for an interview. John denied, saying his manager advised him against it, whilst Dream accepted and pointed out more inconsistencies in John's argument.
The story just...
No, it doesn't... It doesn't make any sense, and the thing is, there's so many inconsistencies, and something I didn't even mention on my stream, which I think is is actually a really big deal, is that in between the time period where he claimed he didn't have access to his account and he got hacked by the 12-year-old kid that he says did it, according to Harley, which is the only witness, because Harley was the one that was being messaged, the account never went offline. So the account was online the entire time between when he claims he didn't have access, and then he messaged them saying he did have access. And according to them, because it was only a 10-minute period, the account never went offline during that period. So the account was online the entire time while he was apparently doing password resets and stuff.
The ball was now firmly in John Swan's court, and he would respond with an eloquently written 8-page document. It starts by recapping the history of the drama before going over Dream's questions and refuting them point by point, reasoning that he forgot multiple aspects of the situation. Why did the kid know about LT Cobra and Harley TBS's drama? Well, the day prior, Cobra had sent John screenshots of him arguing with Harley, and Cobra was the last person that messaged John at the time. Why was the account renamed Nicholas Diorio? Well, Nick had appeared in a lot of John's videos, which the kid had seen, and Nick has a big meme culture around him in the community. And why trust Dream when he's been accused of cheating in a Minecraft speedrun? Now, some of this reasoning might be absurd now, but with the context you can understand why others believed it. Keep in mind, John's last big expose was against Chris Hansen for sending a doxer after him. Dream misunderstanding this incident was probable, and again, most of the commentary community threw their weight behind their trusted friend.
The funny part of this, and I guess like the part that really resonates with all the audience, is this just does not sound like something John would do.
I don't think I've ever heard John say a slur. I don't think I've ever heard that before.
This posh little prick is out there apparently making fake
This kid
accounts.
plays the fucking violin, dude. Like he's not.
This dude literally played the violin on.
He's not gonna. He's not gonna go on stream and be like, "Oh, we don't like it." Yeah, he's not gonna do that.
They believed Dream, this massive YouTuber, had thrown John under the bus. Little did they know, John was throwing them under the bus the entire time. On the night of February 26, 2021, messages started going around in the commentary community stating that John had lied about Dream. The rumour was that there was no 12-year-old autistic cousin. It was all made up. John had done this troll, orchestrated it all along with LT Cobra, and then went to message the right opinion on WhatsApp where he admitted to it. This rumour led to Nicholas Diorio confronting John Swan on a now infamous private call.
I'm not mad at you. I just want you to, like, 100% assure me that there's no possible way, there's no mix-up that could have happened. Like, there's no way that you could possibly be not telling me the entire truth.
No, there's no way.
There's no way that you could have, like... It doesn't add up, dude. There's no way that you and Cobra were just f***ing around with Harley or whatever, and then you didn't expect Dream to respond, and you just said, like, you made up something on the spot or whatever, and then you just, like, you weren't expecting it to ever come back up again, and it came back up again, and it was just a big show, and you just tried to bury it, and then it got bigger, and then you just made a document. There's no way that's what happened.
I'm trying really hard here, because Nick...
Dude, I'm not gonna go make a video on you, okay? I'm just asking, because I want to know. Because, like, I feel like I already know the answer, so it's like really like there's no reason to lie to me.
If you know the answer, then you know the answer.
So you did it.
That's what I'm gonna say. I
John, come on! I'm not.
No, I'm not. I don't know. Who knows? If you know the answer, you know the answer. That's all.
Do you think they don't have? All right, wait.
Really
You think they don't have you saying it? They do. No, they do.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
John, it's not on his Twitter account. It's on his WhatsApp.
No, it's not me that sent that. Nick.
The kid sent it?
I don't know who that is.
John, this is crazy.
I don't know who that was.
John.
I don't know. Who was that? I don't know. I spoke to Troy the other day. That's how I know. Basically, the outcome of that was he had told people, but it wasn't as many as what I'm.
What made it to me?
Now. So
they told people.
I assume things have.
Yes.
Things have spread. But that doesn't really matter because what matters is where it started, and if that person isn't going to come forward with anything, then it doesn't really matter. I mean, these screenshots coming from third hand doesn't mean a thing.
So you're basically just okay with saying that like it didn't happen because Tro's not going to put out the screenshot.
Yes.
It's crazy how John is so comfortable with saying that he'll just continue because he knows the right opinion won't put out the screenshots. It's just completely slimy. Unfortunately for John, the one thing he banked on was Nick just following his command and not putting anything out. Clearly that didn't work, because early in the next day, Nick posted a thread stating that John had lied to him for the past few weeks. This led to another call, where John is clearly panicked and distraught that his lie has been uncovered.
I had to. I know. No, I did. I definitely did.
No.
What?
No. What the
f***, dude? Talk. Go.
No, it's just why,
dude.
You can't, dude.
What do you mean? How is this any worse than literally just lying to my? I don't know how much you've lied to me about, dude. I have no idea how much you've lied to me about, but if you're willing to lie on like that big of a public spectrum, do you think like people shouldn't know about it? But I'm just sitting here thinking it's just like, you haven't been up front with me in any capacity. Why would, like, holy shit, dude. I don't know. I thought we were like cooler than that. I thought you wouldn't like completely screw me over. What you really expect from me here? I have like a moral truth capacity thing.
What? No. No, dude.
What is the way, dude? How do I do it better?
This is not the way. And delete that immediately.
What did I do wrong? What's wrong about it? What do you want me to, like, what would I change?
This is not the time. This is seriously not the time.
What do you mean? Look, dude, I feel bad enough already, but I'm not gonna just sit here and just like get guilt tripped. Do you have something to say that makes this make any sense to me?
Okay, alright.
Come on, dude, just tell me the sob story so I can tell you I don't care about it.
No,
I don't. No, I don't. I'm not like seriously, I don't. Can you just like get it off? Like, did your dog die? Like, what do you need me to say?
No, it's just some family shit. Okay,
dude, was the family a year long?
Okay.
Dude, are you really gonna get me into a call and tell me that you're having family shit and this isn't the time and you can't handle this right now? Like, seriously, dude? Come on, bro. Come on, dude.
Like, I don't understand why you have to bring this to the public.
Right now? What do you mean? Like,
I had no idea.
I think you should have brought it to the public 3 weeks ago, and we could have totally skipped this out. Do you understand that I've been, like, fighting with everybody on Tommy's news team? I almost burned a bridge with Tommy because I was defending you so much. Literally driven, like, fucking divisions in my own fucking friendships with people online because I fucking trusted you. So, like, I don't really feel bad about this. Not at all, actually. I feel bad that, like, I burned a bridge with somebody I genuinely like to talk to, but I don't know if that person genuinely liked to talk to me because he lies through his teeth, dude. So I don't know what the I have no idea, dude.
This is nothing. This is no, it's just I wanted it just to end peacefully, dude. I dug myself into a deep hole and I felt terrible about it since I ever did it, man.
You didn't
I'm gonna be real
do
with you, okay?
anything
Like,
wrong.
I know you did.
What you did wrong was you dragged it and dragged it and dragged it, and that's the problem here, is that you made a Google document and you drug like everybody else in to like to fix your fucking situation. All you had to do was just own up to the fact that you like trolled somebody and you never thought it would get back to them or something like that. And it probably, if you did it like at the beginning, if you did it at like the point where it was on Reddit, like there were so many outs. You had so many outs to not be a dead. I don't know. Like I just figured you were a lot smarter than this. I guess I was wrong.
Yeah, I thought so too. I guess I'm not. I guess I'm a moron. Okay.
Because
why did you do it?
It's the morally right. I have a video on my channel lying about somebody. I have a video lying about somebody on my channel, and I didn't know I was lying about somebody when I made it. I have to clear that up.
You could have just.
Oh, I did, but then I made a statement because it's the right thing to do.
But it's just not.
We always had this thing. We always said that, like, if any of us ever fucked up, like, we would call each other out for it, right? We always said that. You What's up, dude? I called you out on it. Sorry.
After this, John had to post an apology. Hello everyone. As a commentator, my credibility is important to me. Unfortunately, I have let you all down. There is no excuse for what I did, and I take full responsibility. I wish I could have made a video, but I'm currently travelling and not in the position to do so. I was messing around on Discord about a year back with a friend of mine. I had 6,000 subs and I thought nothing of it. This somehow got back to Dream, and I didn't expect it to. I panicked. I told a lie, and I thought it would never get brought up again. I was wrong. Dream's Reddit post came out and I was completely in shock. I panicked again and I made my thread, digging myself into a deeper hole. I thought it would look really bad if people thought I was impersonating a YouTuber, even though it was so small and inconsequential at the time. But I understand now that lying about something on as big of a scale as this is indefensible. Time after time I messed up. I should have just said it was me all along, but I didn't. I dug myself deeper and deeper, and I got caught up with everything. I lied about a massive creator, and I'm sorry. There is no excuse, there is no need to defend me, I was brutally wrong, and I'm sorry for lying to you all. I'm especially sorry to Dream for everything I did. Lying at the expense of someone's credibility is one of the worst things a creator can do. Once again, there is no excuse. I understand if this makes you lose respect for me. In fact, I would be shocked if it didn't. I messed up on such a large scale that I don't know if I'm capable of anyone's forgiveness, but I will try my best to earn my respect back. I have let you all down, I am ashamed and disappointed in myself, and I am sorry. I also want to apologise to the people that stuck their neck out to defend me. People like Nick, Augie, Boblax, Tipster, Optimus and others. I lied directly to their faces and put everyone's credibility in danger. I didn't consider how this might have affected them, but I should have. Once again, there is no excuse for what I did. Dream would see this and made his own response, saying he was severely disappointed in John Swan for his lies. It turns out that someone had told Dream at some point about what was going on and showed these WhatsApp messages, and despite holding on to proof that John was blatantly lying to a sociopathic degree, Dream held back on releasing these screenshots and even tried to resolve the situation privately with John multiple times. John would not accept. I know people hate Dream now and I get it, but the amount of restraint to not just nuke this off the face of the planet after seeing him spew bullshit about you for weeks has to be respected. This WhatsApp screenshot had also gotten to Keemstar, hence why he jumped in, but his behaviour was far from respectable. Keem knew that John's story wasn't true, and due to recent grudges with the rest of the commentary community, let him lie for weeks like a wind-up toy, just so he could get one up on the community and then gloat and destroy everyone with one stone. This private call by Nicholas Diorio quite literally saved everyone else's career, which John had put at risk in the first place. John's insane lie had far-reaching consequences, some of which were playing out right in front of him. Nicholas Diorio was getting into arguments with his friends over it. The whole situation's attention had led Corduit to get death threats. John had even privately talked to Boblax, who is autistic, and tried to sympathize with him about how autistic people would act. The reality is that he was just using him. Also, remember that 8-page Google document response by John Swan? Well, as it turns out, prior to its release, Nicholas Diorio had published a second channel video defending John, obviously not knowing anything about John's lies at the time. When John wrote his first draft of the document and showed it to Nick realized that a lot of the points were strangely similar to his video. In a matter of days, John had destroyed months of effort. It was all gone. For the last year, he had prided himself on journalism and ethics, research and integrity. And you lied to all your friends and your audience for weeks on end as they sacrificed their credibility defending you? For such an esteemed commentator, it really was a pathetic way to go out. 3 months after the Dream situation, John came back, but it wasn't in the way that most expected. Rather than a big return with a new video, John first posted, "I empathize with Dream." During John's time away, Dream had also been caught lying about the status of his Minecraft speedrun, a far-reaching lie that had led to the harassment of those who had initially criticized him. But rather than celebrating this or even ignoring it entirely, John decided to side with him in this really weird kind of video.
You know, I keep on coming back to this line. All I know is that it scared me a lot, feeling like everything you built might come tumbling down and there's nothing you can do about it is really stressful. And it is. And people not in this situation would never know how it feels. People that don't have a channel, that are not here, that haven't been called out, would never know how this feels. And I understand. And I empathize. But at the same time, it's like, I wish he could have empathized with me. because he knows how this could have felt. But he went on Reddit, he started to do a whole lot of stuff and post whatever he did, and, you know, that still feels and it impacts me to this day, you know?
John would eventually come back to his main channel, but with such unappetizing topics like NFTs and Mixer. Consider the gravitas and deep stories behind John's exposés on Suzy Lu, Chris Hansen and Deji, and then compare it to videos like this. Eventually, John did start making videos on topics people were more interested in, like Chris Hansen's continuing Onision investigation, but the videos still didn't do as well as John had done before. He did get a stroke of luck in September, however. John was working on his video about Isabella Janke, one of the most depraved people who messed with Christian and got him to admit that he had his mom, and someone obtained information behind the scenes that fellow commentary channel Turkey Tom was also working on an Isabella Janke video. John went into overdrive and released his video earlier. However, Tom would end up having the last laugh as his video blew up and gained almost 3 million views, whilst John's video stayed at around the 100,000 view mark. Another testament that quality is better than quantity, especially considering the fact that John had cut out some of the most disgusting details of Isabella's actions, whilst Tom was perfectly fine reading them. This eventually led to another video in the style of the I Empathize with Dream one, except this one was titled The Future of the Channel and Why I Might Be Quitting, where he talks about how YouTube was no longer sustainable and the savings from his online earnings were starting to run out.
And the financial impacts from this, I'm sure you can imagine, have also not been great. You know, I moved out of my parents' place about a year ago now, so a few months into moving out, I got into this massive controversy, which was not great. But thankfully, I am smart with money, and financial ruin for me is still, you know, quite a long way off. But just to give you like an idea of how bad things are, I am making less than half of what I should every month in order to break even with bills, food, rent, etc. So yeah, things are not great financially, things are not great view-wise. Remember, this is how I make money, this is my job.
But even with such a damaging controversy like the Dream situation, there was a chance he could bring it back. It may seem unlikely, but this applies to everyone. YouTubers and other online creators have gotten into irreversible controversies, but as long as they upload consistently, they can just power through it. And John would get his first opportunity to rebuild his reputation not long after. Though the name Kai Weiss is now associated with a messy entanglement of allegations and disputes, back in 2021 he was simply known as another art commentary channel. But he gained the attention of a lot of people when he issued a false copyright strike upon Akumu, a 300 subscriber channel who criticized him. As we've learned, copyright law is John's forte, his speciality, and so when they got into a debate on John's second channel, it was barely a competition. Not only did John completely dogwalk Kai on copyright, Kai's immature reactions and constantly saying that John is quacking didn't help him.
Who else was it?
Sister Zio talked about it.
Yeah, but those people were all right. Those people were correct. So I'm criticizing the people that are wrong.
To you.
Yeah. Yeah.
To you. They're correct to you.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm criticizing the people that I believe should be criticized. Okay, Why would I talk about the people that are right? What?
Hold on. Relax. Stop quacking, bro. Like, tell me what makes these people right.
Because I believe that they're correct. It would help if you like watched the rest of the video. It would help if you watched the stream because I go over all of this in the stream.
Hold on. Stop quacking, bro. Relax. Like I said.
A few months later, John would also debate commentary YouTuber Lanza on copyright as well. In the wake of John's obliteration from the internet, Lanza had made a video on John that contained one of John's videos totally uncut. He was just using all of his video with no edits, which absolutely did not fall under fair use. To add to that, the rest of the video was mainly just other people's content. Lanza's total amount of footage where he was talking was less than the total length of uninterrupted clips of John's videos. So again, John completely dogwalked him, with Lanza's best defense being that it was for context, when I'm pretty sure you can show the context without just putting it there in its rawest form. But both Kai and Lanza were significantly smaller than John. If there was one situation that re-solidified his place in the community, it was the fight that had broken out within it. The YouTuber Technicals, standing now at over 100,000 subscribers, had gained a lot of attention after his work looking into some of the most popular cases in the Smash community. In particular, his video vindicating Sky Williams and looking into the case of the Sky House had gained him a lot of acclaim and friends in the commentary community. Both John and Technicals were admired for their quality research and style of presentation, but there were obvious differences. John's content was more analytical and dry, whilst Technicals was known for his humour. So, what had happened? In late 2021, Technicals made a video looking into the case of Zero, possibly one of the best players to have ever been in the Smash competitive scene. Zero had left the internet after two people came out against him with allegations of sexual misconduct. One of them, known as Jisoo, alleged that Zero had shown her sexual material when she was a minor. The other was a girl named Katie, who testified that Zero had frequently messaged her sexually in 2014 when she was 14 and he was 19. One of the claims that stands out the most is that Zero had asked her to video herself doing explicit acts with ice cubes, before then sending that video over to him. Zero would admit that Katie's allegations were true in a Twitlonger in 2021, before attempting to take his own life. Technicals' video attempts to offer a different perspective on the situation. He pretty much steamrolls the claims from Jisoo before going over the allegations with Katie, making a case that Zero does not fit the definition of pedophilia and was not a threat currently. He supports that by pointing out that Zero ran an entire team of children after this incident, and reasons that Zero's environment and life created these conditions. Aspects such as childhood trauma, Zero being preyed on multiple times during his childhood, the age of consent where he grew up being 14, him not understanding what was okay like eating moldy waffles without knowing they're harmful, or not knowing why World War II happened until he was 19. These were all points noted in Tech's video. He ends off the video by saying that he doesn't mind if Zero comes back to making content, and notes the Smash community's blatant hypocrisy by welcoming back Nairo, another popular Smash player who was also accused of having a sexual relationship with a 15-year-old when he was 20. The Zero video performed incredibly well, yet it also came under a lot of criticism. Many people, especially those in the commentary community, felt that Technicals had downplayed Zero's actions and distracted from their severity by using manipulative or outright nonsensical arguments. This turned into a divide within the community, and John would take his chance with his video in December 2021, titled "What Really Happened to Zero?" John's video seeks to lay out the Zero case in far more detail, and unlike Tech's video, does actually painstakingly go through the DMs with Katie and her Twitlonger, stating that Zero is absolutely a groomer. John then goes over Tech's video and refutes several aspects of it. He accuses Tech of emotional manipulation by talking about Katie's allegations and then cutting to an interview with Zero where he details his suicide story. He also accuses him of warping definitions of pedophilia to fit his argument, and not making it clear that he condones the conversations with his various points about Zero's life. John also highlights that Technicals dismissed legitimate questions about Zero's possible threat via a joke, and accuses Tech of putting in the Nairo section specifically to make Zero's case more palatable. To finish off, John also talks about Zero's leaked DMs of Technicals, and how it seems like he has no guilt for what he did, before going over a case that Technicals was previously involved with that concerned his brother and a group chat of minors. Technicals did eventually respond to the video's points, but we're only talking about John Swan for this video, and this work had done wonders for John's reputation, with headlines across live streams with the words "total vindication." It immediately got him back into many people's good graces, and that level of respect was retained when others settled their issues with Tech privately a month or so later. John was the only one not to. To add on to all of this, the start of 2022 would see John's supposed biggest victim, Pieman, completely burn his career. After being over by John, Pieman had the perfect platform for a fledgling channel, and he had even gotten a 1 million view video talking about Minecraft YouTuber Stampy. But as time passed, instead of making videos, Pieman was only sinking further and further into Discord degeneracy. He would be arguing with other small commentators and Kiwi farmers about racial politics, becoming more and more of a Discord dweller. It felt like the break he took from the online world never happened, and that would culminate in a January 2022 document where Pieman admitted to exchanging nudes with a number of fellow small commentators over Discord. Their closest partner was LMM Skits, another small commentator who Pieman realized was a full-on pedophile, but kept on role-playing with them until they had enough quote-unquote evidence to expose them. However, many believe that Pieman may have only stayed because of the pleasure they derived from their Discord ERPs doused with degenerate kinks.
The last time, the thing with my friend's nudes happened was, a couple weeks ago.
The last time it happened was a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So, why didn't you just expose him then?
At that point of time, I didn't want that to stop. There's a reason it happened 3 times. It didn't just happen once.
At that time, you kind of, part of you still wanted it to continue.
Yeah.
Though John may not have known at the time, his warning towards Pieman all that time ago was scarily correct. John's reputation received a further boost, whilst the wider public would never really hear of Pieman again. John Swan had done what was thought to be the impossible. Through a number of debates where he performed well, alongside a well-received video covering the commentary community's most destructive situation that year, he had earned the respect back from his fellow peers and his diehard audience. Things weren't the same as before the Dream situation, but of course things can never be exactly like the past. John had gotten out of the huge hole that he dug himself, and now prepared to work on a video on creepshow art, a topic bound to do well. All he had to do was not jump back down. One thing that I didn't really go over in that last segment is how John's friend group of YouTubers had changed, and I don't mean the people that you would usually expect like AugierFC or Nick Diorio. When John came out of the Dream drama and as he was building up his own reputation, his friend circle now consisted of more young and aspiring editors, incredibly talented editors mind you, but also people inexperienced with life and an online platform. Obviously it wasn't all 15-year-olds, there were YouTubers in there you may recognise like Aiden Projects or Dr. Skipper, but most of them were young creators. For the story going forward, we only really need to know 3 main people. First of all, Jake Contrary, probably the most well-known small commentator in the group. He was a German kid who had made his presence well-known in the community with an amazingly edited video on the downfall of Tumblr, and had also run his own show Jayco Live covering the community drama. Then there's Haha Yeah, a 15-year-old British commentator who is most well-known for his video covering the mishaps and misdeeds of Pieman. And then there's Cammy, another small British commentary YouTuber who was 18 years old. Cammy was kind of the butt of every joke in the group because he wouldn't be able to handle jokes about him well, which encouraged everyone else to make even more jokes about him. In March of 2022, Cammy met a girl by the name of Lizard or Liz, who was another viewer of the commentary community who others knew on Twitter. Her biggest claim to fame is running a commentary fan Discord server called Chadville. We're not exactly sure how Cam and Liz got in contact, it may have been through Chadville, but we know that they were friends and were talking daily on Twitter before this. On Easter Sunday 2022, Haha Yeah published a document against Cammy with links to message logs over 16 days. Liz was 15 turning 16, whilst Cam was 18 turning 19. Their conversation starts on March 28th, where they connect with things like sharing the same birthday month, which then turns into flirting and sexting for the next 5 hours straight. This is pretty much replicated for the next few days, with the defining feature being Cammy's insanely detailed descriptions of their sexual conversations and what he would do to her. Cammy also offered to send her a dick pic at one point, which made her uncomfortable, leading to him apologizing and then working stuff out. It's also worth noting the maturity difference not just in age, but also in sexual experience. Cam has already lost his virginity, whilst Liz hasn't, and he's here talking about what he would do to her in incredible detail whilst she's in class and at school. Additionally, Cam himself comments on the age gap being weird and compares it to Vexay Stuff, a small commentary predator exposed in 2021, and their interactions eventually ended in late April because Liz saw Cam as just a friend, as she also had a boyfriend at the time. Meanwhile, Cam saw it as much more than just friends. Whilst the document definitely does make Cammy out to be a complete freak, the writing of it and priorities felt really off. Emphasis on strange aspects and specifics, a finalizing fixation on Cam's YouTube career of 2,000 subscribers, and a treatment of him that some considered too harsh. Throughout the DMs, Cam would stop in the middle of the conversation and ask if she was comfortable continuing, and when there was an issue, the two would sort it out. They never had very deep conversations about their lives as far as we know, and it's a 3-year age gap. For the record, I believe Cam's conversations are wrong, but the point stands that he isn't a pedophile, and a Google document published with the intent of life ruination is not the way to deal with this. It didn't help that in the original tweet, Haha Yeah stated that Cam was 18 turning 19, while simply mentioning that Liz was 15. A fair statement would say that she was 15 turning 16, which we know as in the messages, she talks about how her birthday is 5 days before Cam's. Initially, the reaction from those who saw the Cammy document was mostly disgust and jokes, with John Swan being one of the people promoting it, alongside memes comparing Cammy to Jeffrey Epstein. Obviously this, and Haha Yeah's association to John, definitely drew some suspicion to him, but that was overshadowed by Cammy coming out and admitting his faults. So, case closed, right? Well, this document would have far bigger reaches than anyone writing had envisioned, as it soon came across the feed of the streamer Destiny.
He says he doesn't want Lizard to feel uncomfortable around him while not stopping to consider that he's the adult in the situation. Bro, he's 18. Are you serious?
Haha Yeah would call in, and immediately started out by saying that he was not the only writer of the document.
What's up, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Alright, nice. So, I should probably say, I didn't write the document fully. It was someone else who don't want to be, like, involved. I wrote, like, parts of it, but it wasn't all me. And so, like, I'm not trying to say he's, like, a predator.
Well, you are. Wait, come on, let's at least own it, right? You're trying to say he's a predator.
Weird, like, predatory behavior, right?
Don't you literally have, like, a tweet that's kind of like calling him a pedophile?
Which one?
The Titan turning into a Titan, the one guy turning into Epstein.
That was possibly an inappropriate joke.
Okay, so Hold on, I'm sorry. I'm laughing because it's all funny to me, but you're kind of like trying to destroy somebody's life over some like pretty dumb shit. The age gap could be like 2 people in high school, right? 15 and 18 could be like a sophomore and a senior.
I think it's different when it's like, because Cam's in college and like in a different country, so I feel like it's a little bit different.
Is it really that different? They're like 3 years apart. I don't think. So here's another question. Has anything abusive actually happened here? Like, is there any evidence of him grooming or ignoring her saying no or anything like that?
Well, okay, no.
Okay, and then my second question is,
yeah.
If I were to start going through these DMs, is she like flirting back with him?
Yeah, but like, so basically she started like, she just said that she started like liking him in these conversations, right?
I also think another factor in this is like the vulgarity of the messages. I know that doesn't make it like worse. I just think that in combination with like the kind of weird dynamic.
Well, but vulgarity. I mean, if they're saying sex and all of that is vulgar, right? It is. It's like that's.
Yeah.
So I mean, like that's not. It's not vulgar. It's literally. It's gonna be vulgar, right? It's not like you're. Yeah.
Eventually, word starts getting round to Bunk, a political YouTuber affiliated with Commentary, and they're telling him that John Swan is involved in the document.
Wait, was John Swan associated in the creation of the document? I'm being told by multiple different people John Swan had some involvement in the creation of the
John
document.
was involved.
Alright.
And this leads to John eventually calling in.
What's up, John Swan? How you doing, my dude?
My name was like brought up here like a few times. What's going on?
Were you involved in the creation of a document against Cammy?
That's a
I
yes.
I was not directly involved. In that
Oh
at
God.
all.
What does not directly involved mean?
No, I mean I saw it. But that
Okay,
was
I found the
legitimate.
tweet from Harley. If you want to see it, why is everybody saying that you were directly involved then?
I
I've got like
don't know.
20
I
different
was
people
not.
DMing me like, dude,
I was
John
not
Swan like
directly-
wrote the document. He was like
I did not do
mastermind
that. I
behind
don't know
all
where
of
that's.
this, okay?
No, that is not true. I quote tweeted it. I don't know. Maybe they thought that was why, but no, I didn't have anything to do with it. I don't know why that's being brought up as fact.
In the wake of the Destiny stream, John also put out a statement reiterating his sentiment. Just wanted to clarify a few things after the events of today. A few days ago, I was contacted by a girl who I have mutual friends with. She told me that they were taken advantage of and manipulated. I gave some advice based on what I was told at the time and directed her to people that I thought could help. Apparently, she was pressured by her friends into coming forward with this information, and they put ideas into her head. The writers of the document constantly checked up on her to make sure she was okay with going public, and she confirmed every time that she was. She told me today that she did feel weird about it at certain points, but shrugged it off and didn't tell them. I don't blame the girl for this, of course. Things can get confusing when put under so much pressure, but that is part of the reason that led to this clusterfuck happening. This was all about trying to help the girl. I believed her motivations were clean, and I did not know she had outsiders influencing her. To make things super clear, I did not write a word of the document. I looked at small portions and made edits when asked. And whilst I didn't have a problem with the doc's release at the time, Destiny's stream definitely opened me up to a new perspective. And upon receiving the information from the girl that I got today, I think I'm comfortable saying that the document should never have been released. Whilst I didn't write the document, I still feel partially responsible for its release. I sincerely apologise for the involvement I had in this. In the future, I don't want people to use my DMs as a dumping ground for their allegations. However, John's statement was viewed with far more caution and suspicion by the bigger commentators. Many had learned their lesson and were hesitant to throw their hat in the ring. They were right to do so. When Liz talked to her friends about her relationship with Cam, they reacted as if it was grooming. Liz would then go to John Swan's friend A-Star, who then redirected her to John Swan. In their DMs, John would give her his verdict, the option to release a Google document either anonymously or in conjunction with someone else. This is terrible advice to give to anyone who's in this position, especially someone who doesn't even fully believe that they're a victim. Google documents are not the way to really go about any of this stuff and should be more of a last resort, not the first idea. Additionally, it seems like John wanted to use the situation against Cammy to destroy his career, rather than handling any of the delicate details of the situation. And that notion is supported when you see that John only looks at around 40% of the actual messages sent and decided that was enough for a document.
I read the document in the call with a few different people, and there was a few DMs in there that sort of like broke the narrative apart that you guys are like trying to like paint. So she was comfortable with this like a few days ago, and then she goes and makes a document about it. Okay, I think that's
I don't remember this message you're talking about.
It was. I mean, I can try and find an archive.
I may not have I may not have, to be fair, I did not read all of them.
And despite this, he told Liz that he read through every screenshot and that this was grim, as well as actively advising her on what paragraphs sounded good. This all doesn't sound like someone who had, quote, no involvement in the document. Aiden Project would later leak DMs of John teasing this big document, reveling in its severity, and then restricting Aiden from inquiring further. Fuck, everyone's asleep. I have the biggest bombshell ever in the history of bombshells, and no one is here to witness it. At here, when someone wakes up, ping me please. Why? What? You told everyone else. I'm telling the people directly involved. You are not directly involved. ... I changed my mind, hence the private group chat. Kamai is a groomer, but keep that private obviously. Lamau! ... I'm so tired, what the fuck? In a later call with Cammy, John would seem to blame the situation on Liz.
I feel really terribly about it, but at the same time, I don't know. Like, short of just telling her to off, I'm not sure what I would have done differently. I don't know why she just, like...
You feel lied to.
Very much so. I don't want to victim blame, though. I don't want to be like... It's really difficult, man. I don't want to come out and say it's all her fault, because we do have some level of accountability on our shoulders, but me, man, she really had it, like, she had us on a wild goose chase with this, like, from the very beginning.
This is despite the fact that, again, he was talking to Liz and was the one to convince her she'd been groomed. Hey Liz, I've read through pretty much every screenshot. Really grim stuff, holy shit. Really? I thought so, lol. What is your goal with this then? I heard you want to go public? I want to, I just don't want to lose Cam. It's like, I don't know why I'm so attached. I have major attachment issues and terrible mental health. The attachment with Cam was him taking advantage of you. I read the screenshots, he initiated everything first.
Like, I care very much because I basically started off this thing and I was lied to, essentially.
4 days later, John would issue his final and defiant statement to everyone's questions.
I stand by the statements I've made because I know what I've told is the truth. Dishonest people who have vendettas against me have twisted the art narrative on purpose. If you believe them without second thought, then that's on you. I've seen so many tweets of people saying the most outrageous shit that clearly isn't true, and people believe it out of blind hatred. These individuals are all insane and lack basic critical thinking skills. No matter how perfect my response is, no matter how much evidence I show, no matter how many times I try and explain myself, I will never be able to make everybody happy, so I'm just going to stop trying. Kinda tired of insane people dictating my life, to be honest. If you believe people who are clearly making up shit to get back at me, then again, that is on you, and I don't want you following me anyway. More videos soon.
This statement and his reputation was dealt a death blow only minutes later, when Aiden Projects leaked the entire edit history of the Cammy document. This showed that John had far more involvement than he was letting on, in some cases rewriting statements to make them sound worse. The reality is that John had been caught lying again. He had written most of this entire document, given it to another 15-year-old to publish, and then lied about his involvement.
Hold on now.
What the hell?
Look at this paragraph let's see this paragraph that he changed, right? So I'm assuming that this was like, what, the girl or something? Or I guess the original writer. I don't know. After this, it continued. He made jokes and started liking it after I asked him if he did it. He continued on, tried asking me if it was okay multiple times. He's aware of my age, by the way, so he kept asking if it was weird or not. I tell him I didn't think it was really weird. I really didn't think much of it. Okay, so John crossed that out, and then look what he wrote. Cam used me for his own sexual pleasure when I was in a vulnerable state. He knew what he was doing was wrong, comparing his actions to those of people who have been canceled from the community. He said how I made him happy, he called me cute, said I was his darling, and he made me feel appreciated and loved, but all he ever wanted was sexual pleasure, and he used me to get what he wanted. I'm ashamed that I ever took part in this. Okay.
In the wake of the Cammy drama, most of his friends again dropped him and felt incredibly hurt. They had given this guy another lifeline, and he had completely betrayed the trust that he was handed. As much as John tried to ignore everything, it was evident how impactful the beatings from the community were on his career. Commentary was one of the only places that had still accepted him after his controversy with Dream, yet now he had squandered that opportunity, that second chance, wasting it on someone not even worth wasting. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. John would attempt to brute force himself out of his career ditch by uploading 2 videos, with his first being on the situation regarding the YouTuber Gus Johnson, and whilst the video is well edited as always, it's not a particularly captivating one. John's best work was solidified by a well-rounded and definitive opinion that he would underlay in his work, yet in his Gus Johnson one, he just leaves it kind of open-ended.
Gus and Sabrina's relationship has 2 individuals and 2 sides. There isn't a clear winner, so why do we have to take one? Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
The following week, he would upload a video going over the Artesian builds controversy, and although the video was much more interesting, it was overshadowed by speculation that John Swan's sponsor for the video was possibly a scam. Sometime after July 2022, John Swan would also request for his Wikitubia page to be taken down, and he would also start up an editing course on Patreon. In these desperate times, John would stick closer to his Discord friends, the only people he felt he had left, but even then, he wasn't safe. John's private Discord servers became laden with chaos after the Cammy situation, as he was now the captain of a leaky ship. Someone leaked that back in 2020, John had recorded his apology call with Pieman to use as some sort of ammunition, and a year later was still conspiring behind the scenes to have someone covertly leak it.
Secondly, if it leaks, it must be somebody tied to you or you, John, right?
Yeah.
And that's something you want to
say
avoid.
it couldn't just be one of you guys, and then one of you guys send it to someone else, and then someone else send it to someone else. It just went. I don't know. I'm just
you would have a motive, though. You would have the motive of, I guess, setting your reputation straight. The question is, how convincing is the call, though? Because I've seen some of it, but that was a while ago. So how, like...
No, the call's pretty bad.
How compelling would your case be in this situation?
I don't know. It's pretty... I was pretty, like... Dude... In that call, I was just like, I just want it all to end. I feel like if we want to do this, there's only one way. You create a new Twitter account with a number that none of you have registered. So we get someone else to make a Google Voice number or something, and then we leak it through that, so it has no ties to literally anyone. And then we leave it for like ages, and then all of a sudden people start retweeting it out of nowhere. Because you could just say you found it through like Twitter search or something, and that's probably the best way for you to do it, at least the way I thought about it, because you can't do it through an account that has followers. I don't think that's not going to work, because that would almost be like a mystery then, right? Like you don't even know who the leaker is.
Okay.
I could just say like I sent it in a group chat with a bunch of people in there, and one of them probably took it and sent it to other people, and it went down the chain. That's probably what I would say. I don't have to go into depth about who those people were in that group chat.
Also relating to this Discord server, one of the members was Hightree, a gaming YouTuber who was friends with Dr. Skipper. Hightree states he had made a joke about eating one of the Discord members' skulls, and apparently to everyone else, this joke was incredibly concerning, leading to him getting banned from the server. Others, by the way, say that this is not the reason, and Hightree was just banned for being super annoying, but either way, Hightree was banned from the old Discord server, and the others told him it had been scrubbed because of the Pieman leaks, which was a lie. Apparently they also made an entirely new server just to appease him, and seemed like they were still on his side. Eventually, in late January of 2022, Jay Contrary told Hightree that he was banned for his joke, and John got really mad at that, resulting in this call where he threatens to blacklist Jaco from the community.
Jaco, you're a little scumbag, and I hope, Jaco, I hope all this catches up to you one day, because it is going to. I promise you it will. And Jaco, if you want to learn about blackballing is, I will make sure you know, okay? I will make sure you know. Remember you had that little disagreement about Aiden supposedly blackballing you? Jaco, I will show you what real blackballing looks like, because I will make sure no one ever works with you in any serious capacity ever again. I hope you know that. You're untrustworthy, you're a snake, and I hope you never get success in any legitimate way. Have a good day, guys.
Jaco also leaked a call he was in where LT Cobra and John Swan watched gay porn.
What the f*** is... John, look at my screen.
Oh, nice. You're on... let's not go to it.
No, but how did he get here? He's got to be huge.
He's got... No, yeah, he is. Has to, right?
Oh God, yeah.
Oh!
Whoa,
it looks big. It looks massive.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this?
It's looking like 2 hands. Oh, it is a 2-hander.
Oh, it's 8-9 inches, that. Oh, it's massive!
It's a large.
That's not even fully erect.
All of this led John to eventually lean towards befriending people like Salvo Pancakes. Salvo had risen to becoming the commentary hotshot of 2022, with his unhinged humour, streams, and a boost of controversy thanks to an altercation with alleged comedian Def Noodles on his show. John would begin covering Def Noodles' career, with the first part again strangely similar in its script to the videos made by Nicholas Diorio, followed by a second part covering Def's most recent controversies, and for his efforts he was rewarded with a humiliating appearance on Salvo's show in November 2022. For the last 2 years, John had been seemingly entranced by the actions of smaller YouTubers who he often stomped down on. He had now ended up on a stream with one of those smaller YouTubers, except now the boot was on the other foot.
Did you end up sharing, because it took a minute for me to get in, did you share when you last had intercourse?
I have not shared that.
And you know what, I understand, the way that Salvo presented it, it was nice, but maybe he just didn't share his own personal, I'll be honest, look. It's been a year for me, a year and maybe 1 month. So maybe that makes you feel more comfortable.
I think I'm doing a little bit better than you, Edwin. So I'm gonna say.
You've been better than me. See, okay, now we're getting somewhere. See, this is good. This is good.
And since Edwin was very nice to share that information, I will share the last time I had sexual intercourse. If you promise me, John, that you will also share the last time you had sex and a couple minor details of it.
Okay, this is going too far, Salvo. Go too far. Okay.
I had sexual intercourse last night.
Oh,
good for you, my friend. Good for you, my friend. You know, I get my fair share. I get my fair share, Salvo.
What does that mean? Like, I get my fair share. Is this an Australian term?
Well, yeah, maybe. I don't know. Is it?
How many times a month are you slaying?
Do we really want to know, Salvo? Is this
Yes,
something you really
John.
want to know?
I
really want to know.
Yeah, trust me. You need to tell it now, or it's instantly gonna make me sour.
Oh my gosh! Oh, I don't want to do that. Don't want to do that.
Would you rather talk about Dream? Come on, this is better.
John Swan, trust us. Yes.
On average, Salvo, probably about once every 2 months is what we're talking.
Okay, once every 2 months. So that's like you're having sex 6 times a year.
6 times a year.
You're only having sex.
Now
6
that you
times
put
a
it
year.
like that, it doesn't sound particularly good. No, but yeah, I mean that's about right.
Unfortunately for John, all the glitters is not gold, and once Salvo had been outed for his piss-loving fantasies and doxing, John was left with no one. From then on, he began to properly fade into the background, with only the occasional credit given. His Patreon editing course has now been silent for over a year, and in late 2023, I published my investigation into the Elucid case, including John's mishandling of the whole story. Ever since then, his Twitter has been mostly silent as well. I think he probably saw the writing on the wall. So, why do we talk about John Swan to this day? Why are there so many videos about him out there? Well, some see him as a tragic hero, an underappreciated yet incredibly talented editor who blew up and changed the very approach that everyone had to online drama. The pinnacle of the commentary community who only fell due to lying and sinking his hand too far into the depths. But I disagree. John's reputation and his legacy in the community is an exaggerated illusion. He was certainly a pioneer of his time, especially in visuals and storytelling, but even in his channel's golden age, he was coasting off the work of others. And with such a blow-up and going after revered figures like Chris Hansen, John gained this obsession with feeding his ego that he would try to fulfill in any way, lying to his friends, lying to his audience, lying to the world, just to enact his will, whether that be drama with huge YouTubers or allegations against small channels. I like to think of him as a fireman who saved a baby from a burning building and got the key to the city, but then the fireman becomes enthralled with the sensation of constant admiration, and so he goes around setting fire to other buildings just to try and put them out, and every time someone caught him with the gasoline can in his hands. It doesn't matter what's now happened to those that he previously went after, the issue always remains on how he went after them in the first place, and in the process sacrificed his friends as if they were mere playthings and objects. A couple of years back, I viewed John as a tragic hero, but it's evident that now his legacy is that of a horrific, manipulative scumbag, and it should stay that way for as long as anyone remembers his name. John's YouTube career, above all, serves as a warning to the new generation of YouTubers. It's a simple lesson on humility, self-reflection, cheap theatrics, social climbing, and most importantly, lies by lies. Until next time, stay safe and stay toasty.